slap your whole bowl of oatmeal into the microwave for 20 seconds after you've mixed everything together. It's up to you.
But then if I put it all in the microwave, doesn't it break down? It's going to break down my banana.
No, it'll take 3 minutes to break down your banana. 20 seconds is just going to heat things to warmth. It may even take 30 seconds, actually. Oh, I feel like I have... Did you leave the light on? You did.
I thought it would be romantic. Hey, everyone, and welcome to episode 75 of My Mom Sandy. We are your hosts. I am Josh Fasten, and the woman next to me is giving out free oatmeal recipes today at the My Mom Sandy podcast. This is My Mom Sandy.
Yes, but you have to contact us first to get the recipe. I'm not just going to give it out.
This isn't just that thing where you just show up and you just give it out.
No, you gotta say, please, very interested in your oatmeal recipes. I only have one.
Is that like code for something else, or is that?
No, that's the truth.
All right, good. Okay, so a couple things before we get into episode 75. First things first, TikTok is exploding right now. Our TikTok page that Sam put up with the animations that we put out each week is booming. We have I
hate TikTok too.
The penis animation that we put up the other day.
Yeah.
Where I don't know. I mean, some people might say you were talking into a penis. You might have been licking it. I think you might have been licking it. But we had Sam was like, oh, we had 900 views on that. That's incredible. So then I talked to Sam and I was like, well, how do we get some of those people to actually listen to the podcast? And then she was like, oh, some people will take the audio from TikTok and make their own video. And I was like, oh, I'd love to see two people be us. So anyway, me and Sam are brainstorming.
So then they steal our stuff?
Well, no, they put it out to be funny because we're funny.
Oh.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't like TikTok. TikTok is Chinese owned, and I believe that they do actually do.
What's the guy's name that owns?
I think they call it Biocentric. As a matter of fact, they just gave everybody who's on TikTok just gave permission to TikTok to monitor I think it's called Biocentric material.
I think they want to monitor your bioessence.
They want to monitor everything you fucking do. And I don't know what they do with that, but there's probably a madness to their method.
The beauty of it,
a method to their madness.
The beauty is that it's not on my phone and it's not on your phone. So really it's just monitoring Sam. And, if we get some listens in China or wherever, then that's good. That's cool.
I know. And Biden just rescinded that whole thing too. That, Trump said something about, I don't know what he did exactly. He said TikTok had to be sold. It had to be it couldn't be a Chinese owned company. And then, so some company in America, I don't know who, went in halvesies with the Chinese. So basically the Chinese still have it. They still have all the information. But then there was some other thing that was, anyway, I don't know. I don't know that much about it. I just know that I don't want the Chinese to have any information about me.
They don't worry.
It's not cool.
They don't know. All right, so there's two things that I want to get into today.
By the way, that last cartoon probably ruined my chances of running for school board.
Why? You're just saying that...
Because I've got a penis flapping in front of my face. I mean, come on.
First off, I like that Sam made the penis thicker at the top. The head of the penis is humongous. That ain't gonna fit into any vagina anywhere. And secondly, I like that the penis was kind of like a tentacle, it was like a small tabletop tentacle.
It was flaccid.
I don't know. It could have been hard, but it just had like a swing. It was doing a boot good boogie for us.
There you go. A boot good boogie.
It was like a swing. It was like a swinging dick,
Yeah,
it was great. Sam was crushing it. She actually sent me this whole thing. She wanted to animate your mouth to be to actually move with the words. And I was like, well, you don't gotta go through all that trouble. I was like, it's totally fine.
Yeah, no one's gonna really notice that, are they?
I did, but then I was just like, well, maybe you just have her mouth open and close a couple times. But then the funny thing now is that the way that it looks like you're almost you open and close your mouth so rarely in the video that it almost is oh, is she gonna go for it? She gonna try to put the penis in her mouth, or is she gonna back up? I don't know. What is she doing?
Yeah, like I said, it just ruined my political career.
I'll vote for you. No, I think people they'd be like, oh, her podcast is funny.
Oh, please.
To be honest, I think the ketchup tacos probably ruined your political career. People are like, we can't trust her.
Why? I'm telling the truth about tacos, how I make them.
All right, so there's two things that I want to get into. But before we get into that, there was a TV show that you had wanted to mention to me.
Yeah, and there's actually two things that I want to talk about as well. So I'll tell you the TV show first. I've been watching, excuse me, my 90-Day Fiance comes on Sunday nights. And after that now comes a show called Extreme Sisters. And these sisters are just like super close. It's like some of them are twins.
Is this a similar show of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants?
I never saw that movie.
Okay. I think the shows are related. Continue.
Oh, well, this is like a reality show.
I think
a movie.
Yeah, but the movie was based off a reality show.
Oh. Well, there's these two gals.
They're missing their pants all the time, right?
Anna, no, there's these two gals, Anna and Lucy. They're twins. What the fuck, man?
That's on our end, in case you guys are driving.
That's like a Harley convention.
Why does your car need to sound like that?
Just one.
It's Rodman. Just he knows.
Fucking A.
Continue.
God, I can't believe how loud that was. I can't believe people actually are allowed to drive motorcycles that make that kind of noise. Why? Wasn't there called like sound pollution?
Yeah. Motorcycles and race cars. All right, continue. Come on.
All right. So anyway, they live in Anna and Lucy. They live in Perth, Australia, and they're twins. And I swear to God,
how did you not unplug the phone? What is this? Is this the first time you ever done a podcast here?
No, and it's gonna ring until.
Oh no! See, it's what's his name? No, just you gotta send him a text. Send him a text. Say sorry, we can't.
I know, but it's gonna ring 4 times before we.
Guys, also, if you're driving in the car, the telephone ringing is on our end. It's not.
Yeah, don't go to answer your phone because it ain't gonna happen.
Sorry, this has been an unprofessional episode from the beginning, and she was eating. She was.
I have my oatmeal right here next to me.
All right, so come on.
Okay,
Anna and Stacy.
Okay, no, Anna and Lucy.
Anna and Lucy.
Okay, so they're twin sisters, and they fix their hair the same. They're like, I'm gonna say, like late 20s, maybe early 30s. And they're twins, and they dress exactly alike. They fix their hair exactly alike. Their makeup's exactly alike. Everything, and they go out in public like that. And then to top it off, they have the same fucking boyfriend.
Oh, they're only dating one guy.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's stoked.
They're both dating one guy. I can't remember what his name is. Ben, maybe? And he does both of them, and they both want to get pregnant at the same time.
Now, let me
So,
ask.
like, he does one of them. He fucks one of them, and then he goes and fucks the other one. And then you see both of them with their legs up on the wall. Like, you know how people do that when they're trying to get pregnant?
Yeah.
So, like, they're, so.
All right, so let me ask you a couple of things about this.
Fucking weird.
Because I'm curious, and obviously I haven't seen the show. What's the show called? Sisters?
Extreme Sisters.
Extreme Sisters.
Yes.
So, a couple of things. First thing, do you think that it is like, are we like borderline incense? No, that's, you burned that. Incest. Are we borderline incest here?
Well, they're not having sex with each other.
Do you think that they've ever been?
I'm going to tell you, Josh, it's fucking amazing. They talk about something, and I swear to God, the same exact words come out of each of their mouths at the same exact fucking time. It's like they say the same things. It's like, I don't get how you could be that in tune. It's almost as though they're one person and they've look, cut them in half, and now there's two.
Can you hand me a piece of paper, or I can even just write on that? I just need to make some podcast notes. Look, I had
notes.
I had clients. They still come to me actually, but I haven't seen them in some time. I'm sorry if they're listening. I'm not going to use their real name, but they used to come in. They're twins. They're men. They're twins, and they would come in like one of them would have like a blue shirt. Like a blue, like short sleeve T-shirt with khaki colored, like cargo shorts, and the other one would have blue cargo shorts with a khaki colored shirt. And they would walk in, and I'm like, "You guys got to be fucking kidding me!" And then like one of them, his hair was like parted on the right and went to the left, and the other one his hair was parted on the left and went to the right. And then I would like, the first one would sit down, and I'm like, "Hey, so what are we going to do with the hair?" And he's like, "Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I say we're going to do the same thing." And I was like, okay, so I do his hair, and then the other brother would sit down, and I'm like, so what are we doing with your hair? He's like, pretty much what my brother got. And I'm just like, man, fuck, don't you guys want to like you guys don't want a little bit of,
individuality? I mean, it's like I don't know. I mean, it's weird because the other thing is like I never had, and you as well, I never had a sister. You never had a brother. So I don't know if maybe you naturally feel closer when your siblings are the same sex as you are and you're close in age. I don't know.
No, because I think that there's boundaries. I think that like your sibling is your sibling, you know, like I've always felt, you know, I mean, contrary to popular belief here, I've always felt very close to Sam. I love her to pieces, and I always just want the best. You know, I want the best for her because I think she's so smart, she's so talented, she's like a really great person. And I think back to some of the things that I did when we were growing up, and like I was a fucking dickhead, you know, and you know, it wasn't.
Oh, yes, you were.
I mean, you know,
I'm just kidding.
There was something, you know, I mean, I was whatever, hindsight, right? But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, wouldn't like if I had a twin brother, I would not be like, yeah, let's fuck the same chick.
Well, there's actually another couple on the
He's like coming back around.
I know what the fuck is going
like
on.
I don't even like I have friends that have hooked up with girls or like dated girls, and then like way later on, you know, so like the girl might be like, oh, Josh, like we should go out. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like you dated so and so.
Yeah.
Like. So now, like, if we're making out, I'm just thinking about, like, so-and-so's tongue making out with you, you know? Like...
Yeah, my father my father and I had a couple of, we had a couple of talks about how sex was in his generation, and he told me that, excuse me, sorry, swallowed the wrong way. He told me that, how can I say this politely, so I don't want to offend anybody, but, you know, back in the 40s and the 50s, it wasn't cool to be gay. And so he always said that guys back then felt like having oral sex with a woman who'd had oral sex with another man was almost like having oral sex with that other man or doing something with that other man. So it's like, you know, there's like such taboo about things like that.
Well, I remember, I mean, there was like a thing that I'd heard from one of my friends, like when we were, you know, in our 20s or whatever, like this guy was dating this girl that had dated like a guy that we had all known, you know, and the guy was, and they had like broken up or whatever. And like the guy was pretty bummed about that. Like he was like, man, that's fucking shitty that like you would date this chick after.
Yeah.
So like my friend who is now dating the chick got like a text message or an email or something on social media. And the guy was just like, yo, how does my fucking dick taste? You know? And I was like, oh God, you know,
really?
Like, ooh,
I know. I know. Yeah. So anyway, there is another couple on the show that actually they are twin girls.
Do you think he wipes his penis off
before he goes into? I'm sure he doesn't have to. They probably don't care. I'm telling you, they like one of the girls had a problem with a tooth, went to the dentist, and the dentist said, well, I think we're going to have to pull the tooth. And the other girl said, okay, well, if you pull her tooth, can you pull mine as well?
But I wonder though,
I mean, we have to be absolutely identical.
But I wonder
you
how
can
much
tell
of
they
that
have breast implants and they're like exactly the same.
But I wonder how much of that is for the show. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I think these girls are nuts.
Totally.
I think they really are. Again, part of the thing is that when they speak, they say the exact same thing at the exact same time. It's like, unless they're reading cue cards.
Well, no, I mean, I think that could be, you know, but like how much of this stuff, you know, it's like one of them's just like, you know, oh, well, I'm pregnant with a boy. And the other one's like, I'm pregnant with a girl. Get rid of the girl and implant a boy in me.
Oh, like, listen, they went to a fertility specialist.
Fertility?
Fertility specialist.
I think you're meaning to say a fraternity specialist?
In Australia, apparently, you can get...
Are they cute? Are they like cute girls? Now, let's look them up.
They're okay. I mean, look them up and see what you think.
Continue talking.
They went to this fertility specialist because they wanted to find out if they could get like in vitro done at the same time so that they could get pregnant at the same time. And the doctor said the chances of you guys getting pregnant at the same time are like really, really slim, number one. And number two, the state will not pay for...
Are they blonde or they have dark hair?
They have dark hair. Anna and Lucy. Perth, Australia. Extreme sisters.
these broads?
Yep, those are them. Look at them.
They
they look like fucking bookends.
Yeah, I don't think they're that pretty. Sorry.
I mean,
sorry,
not,
Extreme Sisters.
They're
Anna
not ugly, but but again,
they have the crazy eyes.
They are crazy. They're fucking crazy.
They're the crazy eyes.
I mean, how let's go to when we go to the dentist, we have to have our teeth have to be exactly the same. I can't. Oh, they went and had coffee. They were waiting for their boyfriend Ben. I think his name is Ben. They were waiting for him to come join them for coffee. They're putting pressure on him because they want to get married, and I don't know how the fuck that works. Which one of them actually marries the guy? I don't think they have polygamy there in Australia. I don't know.
So I just gotta say this, and I want to move on because we're time crunch here. What a genius move by Ben. Not that this is my thing. Like I don't. I wouldn't even know how to start. I have a hard time
to have more sex than you could ever want.
But what a smart move. Like he probably met, what are their names? Anna and Lucy?
Yes.
Like he probably met Anna at like the coffee shop, like some online dating. And she's like, oh my God, I have a twin. And he's like, oh really? Do you have a photo? And then like obviously they look identical, right? So then.
Well, no, I think that when they met him, I think they met him on a website, and I think they presented it as,
you got to fuck both of us.
Exactly.
And he was like, oh, shucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
darn. And again,
right.
now they want to get married. And so like, again, and he's like totally got cold feet. He doesn't want to marry them, I don't think.
Yeah. I'm surprised that he is,
impregnating both of them.
I mean, that seems like, I just know for me personally, it's like, I couldn't have sex and then like have like another girl walk in the room and be like, all right, here we go.
Here we go.
Like, I'll be like, look, I need,
give me a Gatorade.
I'm going to need some BioSteel. I'm going to need maybe a fan.
Like 30 minutes at least.
Could you whisper sweet nothings into my ear?
I know. There you go. Maybe you just need like Viagra or something.
Like, okay, so what are you going to do with it? Like I need something, I just wouldn't,
I know. It's a very weird situation, but again.
I can't give my all. I can't give my all.
When you have to spread it out over two.
And then repeat and give my all right again.
There you go.
Like,
there you go.
It's weird. Okay, so let's move on. So, Extreme Sisters, what channel is it on?
It's on TLC. I think it's Sunday night.
Of course, it's on TLC. Just the most
I know.
Fucked up shows. All right, do you have something else before we get into the
I wanted
the meat
to talk,
and potatoes? That's my new thing, meat and potatoes.
I wanted to talk a little bit about Myocarditist. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a heart thing.
It is.
Yeah. Hold on, wait, let me guess. Hold on. Before you even continue, I think I can guess what you're about to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I just was reading some stuff on... That's Sandy. That's my Sandy, by the way. It sounds pretty good, huh?
No, it sounds shitty, but go ahead.
Okay, so I was reading some things online about myocarditis, and it seems that there's a lot of myocarditis that is coming from the vaccines. So I just think we need to not give the vaccine. We don't know enough about it. People are getting the myocarditis. And while you're at it, I would say don't get on an airplane because it might crash. And there's millions of poisonous spiders that might lay eggs in your ears when you're sleeping at night.
Especially if you live in Australia.
Oh, by the way, have you been on bedbugtracker.com? Because I wouldn't say you should never stay at any hotel ever again because the bed bugs will fucking kill you. You know what's worse than the apocalypse? Bed bugs. You can't get rid of them.
That's right. They live
forever. How'd I do?
They can live a whole year without eating.
Jesus.
Can you believe that?
All right. So, what is it? Is it that?
So, well, it's just
spread some false information here.
If
you get the vaccine, you're going to have myocarditis. Then you're going to die.
No,
it's shitty.
Oh man, you know what? It's like amazing to me that you have no respect for science, for God's sakes. And what's going on in this country with this vaccine? I mean, you make a big joke out of it. Everybody should be vaccinated, regardless of.
I don't make a joke.
They're saying that it's coming from younger people, like teens, early 20s, and mostly males.
I'm not making a joke about it. I think that
Germany has halted the use of these vaccines for boys as of right now. Israel's got a study on it right now as well, and our CDC is meeting next week to discuss this type of thing.
Right. So here's the thing. I don't mean to joke about it. I think that where I'm at, and we've talked about it on the podcast before, is that I think that you are stuck between a rock and a hard place to some degree. And I think that that's where things get tricky, is that you want to believe that the vaccine is safe. You want to believe. Hold on.
Originally, it wasn't supposed to be for kids. It was supposed to be for the older people who had health risks.
Yes. I don't think, and look, I'll come right out and say it. I don't think that there's been enough research done on the vaccine to determine if it is 110% safe. However,
it's still experimental.
I will say this as well. I don't think that we have enough research done on COVID and the coronavirus as a whole to know what the long-term effects of that are, right? Like I just read something interesting the other day. I forget if we talked about it on last week's podcast, but basically saying that they're starting to think that if you have that if you've had COVID and you have the antibodies, that the antibodies, the reason why it's not picking up the antibodies after 3 months or 6 months or whatever is because the antibodies actually go into hiding in your body, and that the test can't determine if they're there, but that if COVID is presented again, the antibodies come out of hiding and attack or do the antibody dance. So
the antibody dance.
Get that going, Sam.
The antibody dance.
So, I think that there's a lot of things, again, that we just don't know. And it's hard because it's like, well, and I've said to you, what do? Do you take the experimental vaccine because you think it's going to save your life? Or do you run the risk of getting the virus, I don't want to say the experimental virus, but the virus that no one really knows about, right? That we don't know what these long-term effects are. And obviously there's something working, at least, in the United States and more so California and LA County with the vaccine, because cases are way the fuck down. Now, whether that's because the vaccine is effective, so many people had COVID, or a combination of the two.
We've reached herd immunity, I think.
Right, or if that's happened, right?
Well, that would be the result of both those things that you said,
Totally.
Vaccinations and cases.
I think that, we could not keep going the way that we were going. We couldn't keep doing the thing of, well, let's lock down, close the shit down, open the shit up, close the, that wasn't going to keep happening. And the idea that it was like, okay, well, here, everybody don't see anybody else. Like, you can't do that forever, right? Like, and we've talked about that on the podcast in the episodes way back when, where it was just like, look, you can't tell people to lock themselves in their house, not to go to work, not to see their friends and family, not to go to the stores. Like, you can't say, don't hug, don't kiss, don't shake hands, don't look at each other, don't talk to each other. Like, you can't do that and say, well, just do that until we tell you that you can't do it anymore.
Well, yeah, on top of that, I find it very difficult to believe our CDC. I mean, it just seems like we've had so many stories, that have proven not to be true. The whole mask thing, is it good? Is it bad? Should you wear one? Should you wear 10?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've done.
It's like I don't trust anything that anybody says anymore, except, for me, I like the fact that I've had the vaccine. I feel like, I feel a little bit freer in my life. I think for you, if I were you and I had COVID, I would not have gotten the vaccine. And I think that's, only because I would have waited until I no longer had antibodies. Why? Why would I go get?
But what I'm saying though is that we don't even know if the information now, right?
But they're saying, as of a week ago, they were saying that they think that the antibodies may last a lifetime.
Right, 100%.
The SARS-CoV-1 something.
COVID,
that's what they call it.
Oh.
CoV-1 is something that happened like 17 years ago,
right.
And they're finding that people
still have antibodies.
Exactly.
Right. If I had known now, back then what I know now, that the potential that the antibodies might be lifetime antibodies, maybe I would have thought different. But we were talking about March. It was roughly 90 days, 3 months after I'd had COVID, roughly, and there were so many people getting vaccinated. It was just like this rush of like, can I get it? And it was making people feel like they could get back to some sort of normality. Normalcy. And is normality?
Normality kind of works.
Yeah, thank you.
But normalcy would be better.
And I think that even doing what I do, being a hairstylist, like a lot of my clientele who's coming in are vaccinated. And I think it makes them feel better to know that I was vaccinated as well. It's tough. Right? Like this is a tough time. And I'm hopeful that we never have to go through something like this again in your lifetime or my lifetime, where it's like, all right, well, do we get the experimental vaccine or do we get the or do we run our risk of getting the experimental, the virus that no one knows anything about, right? I'm so glad that you and Dad didn't get it. I'm glad that Sam didn't get it. But I know a shit ton of people who got the virus and then went and got vaccinated, and people talk about, well, you said the other day, well, 2 years, everyone's going to be dead. It's like, well, fuck, if everyone dies, is that a world that I want to be alive in anyways?
I heard people talking about how they got the vaccine and now they're magnetic. They can,
oh yeah, I saw
like the pen can stick to my arm.
I mean, I'd be so stoked on that. Cause I'd be like,
hey, so for my next great magic trick,
yes.
Right? I'm freaking magnetic. I love it.
Freaking magnetic. So anyway, I'm not trying to make fun of it. I just think that, again, every little bit I had a client yesterday or the day before who came in and she goes, 2 weeks after I got vaccinated, she goes, I ended up with shingles. And it was that thing of, and she goes, do I think that it was because of the vaccine? No. She goes, but I think that with everything happening and the vaccine having this immune response and her being like, that it probably brought that out, which I want to roll into our next topic, which was something that I wanted to talk about with you. And I think it's important to kind of get out there, but you had kind of been going, and we kind of kept it low key, but you had kind of had some stuff that you
you're bringing it up, are you?
Well, I figure I figured it's important to let the people know.
I've had issues ever since I had the first vaccine. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really want to get that much into it, but
what did the doctor say that you had to do?
Well, first I had, here's the problem is now I feel like every time I go to a doctor now, I'm opening up a new can of worms. Okay. So first I had this bout of diverticulitis, which I've never had before.
Diverticulitis?
Yes. Diverticulitis.
So what is that? For everybody who's listening who doesn't know.
Basically you, as you get older, you're in your intestines, you get little pouches, and I guess those little pouches they used to think you'd get seeds or popcorn or nuts would get stuck in those pouches and they'd cause an infection. So I don't know. The idea is that you eat a diet that's high in fiber, which actually I was doing. So I went and I had the stupid vaccine, and then on, you should unplug the phone, by the way.
I don't think he's going to call back. You want me to get up and unplug the phone?
Yeah, spam risk may call. They call a lot here. So anyway, what was I saying?
You had the vaccine.
So I had the vaccine, and then on the 9th of February, and on Valentine's Day, I made enchiladas for what's his name.
And you had some stomach problems.
And I had some stomach issues, and it was...
But not I'm going to shit my pants. It was just you had pain.
I had pain, and I had a little constipation, and then a little of the opposite of that, and I just continued to have pain. And I think I told you I felt like my ovary was exploding. Didn't I tell you that?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I contacted our medical expert, Bonnie, and I had also looked on the internet as far as, where's my appendix and all that crap, what's causing this pain.
Did you sing that song?
Where's my appendix?
No,
Where's my appendix?
No.
Where could it be?
That's not the song, no.
Oh.
My leg bone's connected to my butt bone. My butt bone's connected to my
appendix bone. No, I didn't sing that song.
I would have loved to have seen you at the computer by yourself. You're like, oh, where's the appendix? Okay,
it's over there. Okay. Oh, it's connected to the kidney. Oh, okay. So anyway, I went and saw a doctor. That was kind of a mess because my doctor's on leave. Again, I don't know if he's even coming back, but I went and saw a doctor, and they prescribed antibiotics, which I took for a week, and then they wanted me to have a CT scan. So I went and had a CT scan a week later. I was just done with the antibiotics. So I went, they didn't find diverticulitis. They find diverticulosis, which is the pouchy condition.
The sister of
diverticulitis. Diverticulitis is the evil one. Diverticulosis is she's pretty cool.
I got to tell you, one of the traumatizing things in my life.
Yes.
There's been a handful of them.
Yes.
Is standing in line to get my vaccine. And it's and we're at the clinic, the Bonnie clinic, and it's you, Bonnie, me, and there's people in line next to us, and you're just so Bonnie, I was wondering, I need to find an OBGYN and somebody who does transvaginal, and I'm just oh my God, let's not say this in line, in front of your
All right,
son.
so the rest of the story is...
Oh, yeah, continue.
I had the CT scan. They found the diverticulosis, but, here's the can of worms. They also found a growth on one of my ovaries. And so they suggested that I have an ultrasound, one which is just a regular ultrasound, which is probably what you had on your scrotum.
Testicles.
Yeah. And then a transvaginal one, which is actually inside.
Did you get the video of that?
No. You would want the video of that, believe you me.
It looks like the tunnel going down to LAX, that you have the pass through the tunnel really quick and there's just like lights flashing by. It's like...
So anyway, I had that done, and then I also had to have some blood work done, and the blood work was supposed to tell me if I had markers for cancer. Well, the blood work all came back normal.
Thank God.
I know.
Right? I mean, guys, we
That's why we weren't funny last week, because I was like...
Well, I mean,
look,
stressed
out about all this.
It's definitely one of those things. Like, I haven't talked. Me and you have talked about this, but I had said something to my friend Peter the other day, and it definitely was not something that I was bringing up to very many people. In fact, I don't know if I even talked to anyone about it, because it was like, well, let's see what happens, right? Like, instead of getting, and me and Sam had texted a little bit, and she was really worried, as was I. But I was like, look, we can't get worried and go down the worst case scenario, the Sandy's worst case scenario thing, until we figure out what's going on.
Well, it's called predicting the future, and basically we predict the future according to the past.
Exactly.
And to what we, it's kind of like when my dad they found a spot on his lungs, and so immediately we all go to, he has cancer.
Right.
Well, it turned out that he didn't, but
he just had a spot.
He just had a spot on his lungs. And I think it was like a lymph node or something. They did a biopsy on it. It was not cancer.
Well, look, same thing with me, right? Like, I went in, I had my physical a couple years ago. I believe we talked about it all on the podcast, but the doctor's touching my fellas, and he's just like, I don't like the boys,
yeah.
the little boys downstairs in the basement.
I don't call them little boys. That's, I mean,
what is touching the men?
Self-deprecating.
My doctor was touching the men.
The two men down there.
And and he was just like, I don't really like the way this one feels. And I was like, excuse me?
How many have you felt before,
and
Doc?
He, I was like, where's that hand been before here,
Really?
And then he was like, do you have a twin brother? And I was like, Doc, that's weird, So, he sends me to this thing, to get an ultrasound of my testicles to check for testicular cancer, which I guess is very prevalent for men in their like 20s to 30s or whatever. And I was just like, I played out this whole scenario, of like, okay, so I'll get the testicle removed. How am I going to feel that day? Like, is that like, I mean, I was already imagining one testicle gone, like I would shower and I would like put my hand over one, and I'm like, oh, it's gone. It's gone.
It feels naked down
but
there.
I didn't really know which one. So I would do it with both,
Yeah.
Then I'm just in the shower, just like rubbing my balls for like 5 minutes.
You didn't know which one it had.
No,
because it had the potential.
I don't like to look at him or his hand while he's doing the physical.
Why?
I don't know. It's just weird,
Well, but didn't he say your left or your right? My left, my right?
Maybe. I might have. When he said I don't like the way it feels, like everything else is like a blur after that,
You're like, what? Which part?
I'm like, what? Are these balls so big? Is that what it is? These giant balls of mine? You just never felt something this big?
See, is it better to call them big than
are you
little boys?
Well, maybe your judgment is clouded by how giant my cock is, No, but then, but like you said, right, it's predicting the future, right? And then like I didn't hear from him when he was like, I'll call you Monday, and I didn't hear from him. I'm like, okay, well, this is bad news. He's holding it from me.
They always call you when it's bad news. Right away they call you.
But so, so I was stressed. So I understand. Continue.
Yeah. So anyway, so I had the ultrasound, and then I had the blood work, and then my regular OBGYN wanted me to get a second opinion, so I had to go see a GYN oncologist.
A gyn-onc.
A gyn-onc. There you go. There's your animation for the week. What's a gyn-onc? Gyn-onc.
Hi, Sandy. Thank you for being here. I'm Dr. Barbara. I'm your gyn-onc. Gyn-onc.
I won't even tell you the name of the doctor that I saw.
Dr. Dix?
No.
I would have loved.
No, but it's
What's the name of the doctor?
A funny doctor. No, I'm not going to say it.
Oh, all right.
So anyway, so I went and saw him, and so now they want to take out both my ovaries, and they want to scrape my uterus, because apparently the lining of the uterus is too thick.
Do they? What do they like? An old popsicle stick or something? Or
Yeah, I'm not real comfortable with the whole thing, to be honest with you. I just keep thinking, okay, so the ovaries, they would do like laparoscopic, which is like weird to me because, I mean, he goes,
but going through your belly button. We're going through your armpit.
Okay, no, they go through the belly button, but like, how do they go through the belly? Do they stick a little scalpel in there and slice the belly button open and then they stitch it up when they're all done? Or does it just automatically close?
You've seen the.
I don't understand.
You've
I don't
seen
get it.
the Keebler Elves commercials.
Yes.
Yeah. So the doctor opens up his coat. They live in his pocket. And they jump out, and they've got little tiny tools.
Oh,
they've
my
got little
God.
scalpels and little cameras. And he's like, "All right, doc." Because they call the main elf, his name's Doc. They're like, go to work. And then he's like, okay, doctor. And then he jumps in.
I'm serious. I don't know how they do it.
They do an incision around the belly button, remove the belly button, and then it's just like an elevator into everything else.
So yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I didn't get like real. I have to look on the internet and.
Here, pretend your arm is your uterus and pretend this pen is the scraper. It's just going to be like, just like that.
No, and so here's my other deal. Okay?
So what do they say to you?
I have to be put under, which is like, okay, so now I have to get my family trust in order, and I have to make sure that my brother can sign my mother's checks in case I die. You know, we get put under, you may never wake up. And the only other time I was ever put under was when I had my wisdom teeth out when I was like 18, and I'm going to tell you. I slept the whole fucking day.
Yeah, I've never been put under.
I was groggy as groggy can be. This is like an outpatient surgery. Go in the morning and go home at night.
The wisdom teeth or the ovaries?
The ovaries.
Do you get to keep the ovaries?
No. Yes. My son would like to put these in formaldehyde, so he has something to remember me by. I mean, that's gross.
What are those golf balls? No, they're my mom's ovaries.
Really?
How big is an ovary roughly?
I don't know.
It's like an apple?
I don't know, but this thing that I have is like 6 centimeters. It's like 2.5 to 3 inches big.
How many centimeters are in an inch?
I don't know.
This thing I have is like 6 centimeters. It's like 2.5, 3 inches big. That doesn't seem right.
2.5 inches, 6 centimeters.
No.
Look it up.
That seems a little.
Just ask it how many inches in 6 centimeters. Anyway, so they want to take the ovaries. So they do the laparoscopic. So I got to call Bonnie and ask her about that. She's had some of that kind of surgery.
You're right. Yeah, 2.3 inches.
There you go.
6 centimeters. I thought was like. Like a half of a fingernail.
That's like millimeters. Centimeters.
All right, so they want to strap you down, lock you in, spread them legs, put you under.
And then the scraping of the uterus they drew vaginally. So it's like, so now I'm like, okay, so the laparoscopic thing is one thing because they do the camera in the belly button. I don't know how that works, but that's like weird.
Keebler elves.
Exactly. And then they do like 2 little incisions, and I guess the incision where they pull everything out is a little bit bigger. I don't know. I don't even know how they pull everything out, to be honest.
The elves come back in.
Is it in like a little straw? They just suck it out?
No, they use like a little dustbuster, and then they have everything in like separate labeled like containers. Like
ovary number 1, ovary number 2,
Yep.
Left side, right side.
Yep.
There you go. So anyway, so now, okay, so I'm kind of, I mean, I don't really want to be put under, but I'm kind of like okay with that part of it. But the uterus scraping is something weird because now I've got this vision of me on this table, and I've got my legs spread wide apart and probably tied down somehow to the stirrups, and I'm
handcuffed maybe.
And I'm totally out, and it's like.
Do you think you're completely naked?
Yes.
You don't think you have like a gown on? You're probably completely naked.
I'm probably completely naked. And they can just have their way with me. They can do whatever they want. I mean, I would have no idea. It's like, I don't know. It's just a weird.
Would it be weird if you woke up and you're like, oh, I feel okay actually, and you like look in the mirror and there's like lipstick on your neck?
It would be even weirder if there was lipstick on my thigh.
You're like, this is weird.
Yeah, this is very weird.
I don't feel good about this. But it's like small lips, like an elf.
Yeah, elf lips. There you go. They got out of their camera. And
hey, Sandy, this was a good ride. Let's do it again.
I don't know. I just feel weird about it. I mean, didn't you feel weird? I mean, didn't you have to put your legs in stirrups when you had your ultrasound?
No, they wanted me to do them like lobster, like over, like behind my head.
You had to put your legs behind your head. Were you that limber that you could do that?
I'll play hockey. I was like, this is weird. No, I mean, look, I laid there. I mean, it was weird because it was a woman, and I was like, this is odd. But then there was like a man in the room playing like Oregon Trail on like a computer, like typing away, and he was like, the whole group just died again from smallpox. I guess we're gonna have to start this over. And I'm like, why are you here? And I'm like, I just always thought my first threesome would be so different than this. That was a joke.
I know.
It was a man in a way.
Well, I'll tell you what's really weird is that I've had a
threesome.
No, I've had a female gynecologist for like years, and this oncologist is a male. And so when he came in to do the exam, he brought a female in the room with him, which is standard procedure if you're a male doctor, doing something to a female patient. But it was weird because it's like, well, I haven't had another woman in the room like that. So I think that especially when they have the opposite sex working on the opposite sex.
I would imagine there's probably been some very weird patients and weird things said, and like, I just tried to be very, like, I was going to make the threesome joke, and I was like, just don't do that. There's no need to, and then, I just tried to be like, I was like, okay, this is just going to happen. And then there's like a point where she's like, okay, like, I forget if she said like bear down or something, or like flex. And I was like,
flex what?
I was like,
my foot? I know how to do that, but I don't know how to flex my testicles.
You're going to show me? Could you stand up and show? Could the man in the corner playing Oregon Trail, could he get up and show me?
Drop your drawers and show me how to flex my testicles, please.
Well, so when is all that supposed to be happening?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I have a...
Well, I'm glad that in all seriousness.
But again, it's another can of worms. They did the ultrasound and, to check out the ovary thing, and they found this endometrial thing going on as well. So it's like I'm at that age now where everything we check out leads to something else we got to check out. And it's like, I don't know, it's not fun.
Yeah. Well, in all seriousness, I am glad that you...
And I don't want to be spread eagle on a table. I mean, give me the date rape drug or something. I mean, that's what I feel like. Like,
take her to a bar beforehand. At least
really,
buy her a
give
meal.
Me
buy her a meal.
Cocktail at least. I mean, come on. Or a little bit of maybe some nitrous or something.
You walk in and there's like a Tito's Bloody Mary there with like a nice fresh celery stick.
There you go. Perfect.
No, but in all seriousness, I wanted to say that I'm glad that, I was worried, and I know that Sam was worried, and me and her had talked a little bit, and, I'm glad that, from where we are now, it doesn't appear that this is cancer or cancer related, and it's just some kind of fluke thing that just has to be dealt with. And it, makes me feel a lot better knowing that, especially because someone has a birthday tomorrow.
Oh, yes, I do.
We're recording this on Saturday the 11th, by the way. So
Friday the 11th.
Oh, say Friday?
Yeah.
Friday the 11th. Your birthday's Saturday the 12th.
Yes.
I get thrown off.
Did you, was your client that you were in contact today were you thinking it was Saturday? And
No. I know what it is. All right, so I want to get into one more thing, and then we can wrap it up, and we can talk about your birthday party.
Well, wait, I wanted to say one other thing about this myocarditis that we're talking about.
Oh, we're going way back.
No, here's the thing: is that when we're circling back. That's what they call it at the White House press.
Yeah, come on.
Secretary. When we talk about, the problem that I see with this vaccine and the fact that it's still only approved for emergency use is that now we're finding out the colleges are requiring college-age kids to have the vaccine, or they can't come to school. So I'm assuming that the college then assumes the liability should something happen to that child who's been made to take an experimental vaccine.
Again, I think that this is a tricky thing. I think this is a tricky...
But there's going to be lawsuits about this thing.
There's going to be
100%,
yes.
Employers requiring employees
there's going to be
vaccinated.
Tons of lawsuits about all of this because it's approved for emergency use. It's not... I think people are calling into question the effectiveness of it. Do I have to get, am I being forced to get it? Yada, yada, yada. And yeah, I mean, this is going to go on probably for years from now, especially if, in a year we start seeing people, if it's myocarditis or, ventricular catechitosis or even just some halitosis. I think people are going to, this
or diverticulosis botulosis.
Botulosis?
Yeah, that's the new one.
I think it's going to be a thing. That was a perfect segue into this next thing. This podcast will be dropping on Tuesday, June 15th. And June 15th has much been talked in the last, few months or month at least, as to the day that California is fully opening the economy. And I just wanted to get into that really quick because we're running long, but
what does that mean?
But exactly? I wanted to talk about it because I think that I've heard so many different things. And I guess on Wednesday, the state issued the following updated guidance on the use of face coverings. Let's see, what is this? Remove nearly all.
Wear them or else.
So, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. I'm on the NBCLosAngeles.com website, which, whatever, take it all. They said in late May, the department director, I'm assuming it's the CDC, department's director said that dramatically lower virus cases and increasing vaccinations mean that it's safe for the state to remove nearly all restrictions on June 15th. California was the first state to issue sweeping shutdown orders to battle the pandemic in March of 2020.
I want to know what department that is because OSHA is the one that's come out now with the rules.
Oh, sorry, the California Health Department. So we'll get back to OSHA because I want to talk about that because I think it's very interesting. So what they're saying, so on Wednesday, the state issued the following updated guidance. For vaccinated people, face coverings are not required outdoors except when attending crowded outdoor events. Those include live performances, parades, fairs, festivals, sporting events, or other similar settings. For unvaccinated people, face coverings are required outdoors whenever physical distancing isn't possible. For example, when attending crowded outdoor events like those mentioned above. Indoors and outside of home, including on public transit, face coverings are required regardless of the vaccination status, but there are several exceptions.
Like what?
Fully vaccinated people can do the following. Visit without wearing masks or physical distancing with other fully vaccinated people in indoor or outdoor settings.
Okay, but public transportation, you have to wear a mask.
Visit without wearing masks or physical distancing with unvaccinated people, including children from a single household who are at low risk for severe COVID-19 disease in indoor and outdoor settings. The following specific settings are exempt from face covering requirements. People in a car alone or with members of their own household. People working alone in a closed office or room, people obtaining a medical or cosmetic service involving the nose or face for which temporary removal of the face covering is necessary to perform the service, workers who wear respiratory protection, people who are specifically exempted from wearing face coverings by other state health department guidance, and the following individuals are exempt from wearing face coverings at all times. People younger than 2 years old, people with a medical condition, mental health condition, or disability that prevents wearing a face covering, people who are hearing impaired or communicating with a person who is hearing impaired, people for whom wearing a face covering would create a risk to the person related to their work as determined by local state or federal regulators or workplace safety guidelines. So let me just...
So you know what I heard there?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me continue.
Blah, 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 blah. Go ahead.
The new rules essentially mirror those announced last month by the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Health and Human Service Secretary Dr. Mark Ghaly said how the rules are enforced will vary. He outlined 3 options for business owners and event venue operators. Businesses and venues can publicly post rules regarding mask wearing and allow visitors to self-attest that they are vaccinated. Businesses can implement a vaccine verification system to determine whether individuals are required to wear a mask, and businesses can simply require that all patrons still wear a mask. So,
which is what they'll do.
I just want to. I want to get into this.
What are you going to ask everybody who comes into your store? Have you been vaccinated? Yes. No.
Well, so I want to get into this a little bit because I think that there's so many interesting pieces of it, and especially more so interesting pieces that are going. Because that was just for California, but so interesting pieces that are going on as far as other states in the country. First and foremost, it's very, I don't want to say unnerving. It's very weird to be able to watch a sporting event on television. For example, I've been watching a lot of the hockey playoffs. To watch like Vegas against Colorado in Vegas at T-Mobile Arena, and the arena is packed, and 90% of the people don't have masks on, right? It's insane to see that and then think my clients who are vaccinated cannot come into the salon without a mask on, right? Like it's weird to see it. And I think that there's going to be, because I think there's a lot of people who are not keeping up with this, but I feel that if they come out June 15th and say, hey, everyone's got to still wear a mask, people are going to be pissed because I already have people coming into the salon saying, can I take my mask off? Like, I'm vaccinated.
I asked you when I was going to go get my hair cut. It's
I think
you have to wear a mask the whole time.
And I think you're right. Like, I think that there are some businesses that are going to be like, hey, you got to continue wearing them.
Yeah,
this is how we want to do it.
Yeah.
But I think there's just as many businesses that are going to be like, hey, it's up to you. If you want to come in and wear a mask, come in and wear a mask. You know,
I don't, you know, and here's the thing is that you're self-attesting to the fact that you've been vaccinated. I mean, anybody can lie about being vaccinated. The thing is that the person who's not vaccinated is the one that's taking the risk, really.
Right.
Because they may get the virus somehow.
Well, I think the idea is that, you know, if they're not vaccinated and they get it and they potentially spread it to someone who is vaccinated and that person doesn't know and now he's spreading it to people. But again, I mean, you know,
I think they found that asymptomatic people, I mean, they had like, you know, 8 or 10 Yankees that came down with coronavirus after they had been vaccinated, but I don't think any one of them was really sick.
No.
They were all like asymptomatic. So it's like, you know, if that's the worst you get after you've had a vaccine.
Continue.
Should I just tell everybody what you do at my house? That is so gross. So Josh has this thing where he
sometimes I pick the skin off my fingers. It's not that big of a deal, okay? Let's continue.
Then he leaves little piles.
I put it on your remote control.
He just put a little piece of skin on my remote control.
All right, so...
And he's going to leave that there like it's, you know...
I don't even know what you're saying.
It's fucking DNA.
I think that this is...
I'm going to clone you from
that's why I could never be a serial killer, because they're like, oh, yeah, we've had a fingernail.
No, not a fingernail.
Sometimes it's fingernails too.
Oh, okay.
I don't, you know... yeah, I mean, look, I think that this is dicey. You know, this is dicey with where we are. We have the lowest number of COVID cases in the country. I think we have the highest number of vaccinated people in the country. And to continue on the way we are, which is saying like, hey, every fucking business and every fucking place you go, you have to wear a mask, indoor, outdoor, whatever, I think has to change. And I think they were just saying, well, you know, if it's outdoor, if it's this, if it's that. I think that if you are, I don't think it's weird to have a business say, or a restaurant or whatever say, hey, can I see your vaccine card? I don't think that's a weird thing. I think that we have been doing that essentially with, hey, have you had any symptoms in the last 14 days? Hey, have you traveled anywhere in the last 14 days? Hey, have you seen any? Hey, can I take your temperature? Like,
no, but where do they ask you those questions? They just take your temperature.
I've been to several restaurants. I've been to several.
They ask you if you.
Oh yeah. I mean, when we were doing shit at the salon where to confirm an appointment, not now, but like, you know, back in January or February when we reopened, it was, have you traveled in the last 14 days? Have you been in contact with anyone that's tested positive in the last 14 days? And have you had a fever in the last 14 days? Have you felt sick in the last 14 days? Yeah. You had to answer those questions. I mean, fuck yeah, I guess you could lie. I mean, you could lie about fucking anything. I just went back to the gym. I went to the gym the last 3 days. It felt great. I was in a mask, but like.
You're indoors?
Indoors, doing cardio with a mask on. I went with my friend Mark. You know, it was not an ideal situation, but it was something that I knew for both my mental and physical health. Like I needed to get back into a routine of working out. Like my hockey season is supposed to be starting up in a few weeks. And I was like, look, I can't just continue putting this off. You know, like I need to work out as a 39, almost 40-year-old man. Like I need to get the exercise. I need to be physically active, you know, especially because I do things that are active, whether it's drumming, you know, cutting hair, being on my feet for 10 hours a day, or playing hockey. You know, it's like I need to take care of my body. So, I went back to the gym. But when you sign in, you can use the app and they scan it so you don't touch anything. But on the app, like before you bring up your like little membership code scanner thing, it says like, I attest that I haven't been sick in 14 days and haven't seen anyone and don't have a cough and don't have a fever. And like, you have to like agree. I mean, not that nothing's going to happen if you lie about it, but you know, I don't think it's unreasonable to be a business, you know, like I think about the salon, for example. I don't think it's weird to say, hey, we're confirming your appointment for Thursday. Make sure that you have a copy of your vaccine card when you come in.
Yeah, but see, then you get into the HIPAA laws, and those are pretty much what they are, is health information privacy. Like, you know, like my doctors, if you called my doctors, they would not be able to give you information about me unless I agreed or unless you had power of attorney for my medical. So, I mean, it's like weird because it's, you know, the laws are created to protect the person whose health information is being put out there. However, sometimes that actually hurts the person because it doesn't allow the doctor excuse me, to discuss the person's situation with family members even. So, but again, you get into that very gray area when you start asking people, to prove that they've been vaccinated.
But I think that that's what we are in a gray area right now, which is people want to get back to doing things and whatever. And for the most part, I think most of the people who I've talked to who are vaccinated have no problem being like, yeah, I'm vaccinated. Like,
yeah, but I don't want to show my vaccination card. I don't want to be put on a app on my phone where they have a copy of my vaccination card.
You could take a photo. You could take a photo of your vaccine card.
And you could take a photo of anybody's vaccine card and show it to anybody, 100%, anywhere.
100%, yes, 100%.
It's like it's not to me.
But
it's
obviously,
not
if you're coming in to get a haircut and your name is Sandy Fasten and that's what you booked it under, and the vaccine card says fucking, Jane Doe.
Yeah, but you like take a picture of it, doctor it up, and then.
I mean, look, yes, you can do anything.
But
that's a lot of fucking trouble, I mean, look, if they're able to,
if they created a passport vaccine, a vaccine passport, and you didn't want to get a vaccine, then you might go to all that trouble.
Look, if they're able to make fake driver's license things 25 years ago for fucking kids who are underage to buy alcohol, they can sure as shit duplicate a fucking 3x5 cardboard fucking index card with fucking some writing on it.
I know. And the writing, I can't even fucking understand the writing.
But it's work, right? And so if you want to put in the work, yeah, people are going to put in the work,
It's much easier just to go and get jabbed twice.
No, I'm not
well,
saying
no,
that.
I mean,
I think it's everyone has to make their call on how they feel about it. I'm glad that you and Dad got vaccinated. I'm glad that Sam got it. It makes me feel a little bit safer. I mean, look, we're sitting right next to each other doing a podcast. We talked about it a few episodes ago that like we hadn't done that for probably 4 or 5 months.
But I will say this, that I believe that like your friend who got shingles, I believe that this vaccine, and I'm going to tell you, I've gone through menopause. I've had hot flashes. I actually filled out a report with VARS on vaccine, because I've read articles about women who have been, in their 30s and 40s that have had issues with their menstrual cycles since getting the vaccine. And this, now I'm having hot flashes like in the middle of the night. I haven't had hot flashes for a while. I mean, for several years probably. I mean, I am. Like
a hot flash, like you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm so hot. Or like you get.
That's exactly. It's oh my God, I'm so fucking hot.
Yeah, good.
So I asked my gynecologist, I said something to her about it, and she said, yeah. She says, I've heard all of that. She says, I really do believe that it affects the estrogen somehow. Not quite sure how. And I said, should I do a vaccine, an adverse reaction report? And she said, yeah. Should absolutely, because if you don't, they'll never know.
Look, I think that it's 100%. Right.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe it caused this thing on my ovary to grow bigger or something. I mean,
look, I think that with every vaccine, with every medication, right? Like
there's side
effects, right? Yep. Look, I mean, it's no secret, right? I've done three, I've done three, not doses, three, not doses, three like, I've been on a drug called Accutane 3 times. And it's essentially for acne. It's for skin. Courses. Thank you. I did one in my early 20s, and then I did two. It's essentially 5 to 6 month course each time, or that you do it. And I did them more so recently. There's like insane side effects. I mean, I remember when I took Accutane in my 20s, it was like, fuck, this is going to lead to suicidal thoughts, fucking stomach problems, this problem, that, and I was just like, fuck.
It was all true, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. I mean, if I knew then what I know now.
There you go. I would have never taken it the second and third time.
But look, I mean, it is with any medication for anything, there's going to be side effects. And I don't think that, and the vaccine especially, I don't think that it is a one size fits all situation. And I think that that's kind of maybe where they've gone wrong. For someone like you who, hey, can we find the women who might have more sensitivity to this kind of thing? Can we give them a lower dose? Maybe it affects the efficacy a little bit. Did I say that right?
Efficacy.
Efficacy?
Efficacy.
It's like the needle skips on the record player.
But see, that's the thing is that they can't. I mean, here's the thing is they don't know.
That's what I've been saying. They don't know anything.
They don't even know how it affects the estrogen. If you notice, I mean, I didn't report this, but I had 3 different times. I don't know if I even told you that I had like a bloody nose.
Yeah, you were just having that.
Yeah, I mean, and it was like weird. I mean,
but look, I had, I always get a Kleenex and I like clean my nose when I get out of the shower. There was a couple of times like in the last month that, I had a little bit of blood on the Kleenex, but I was also on Accutane, which makes your skin and your shit really dry.
Yeah.
So I'm also like, well, I could also just like, my mucous membranes could be really dry, so it's that thing where.
That's not how it occurred with me.
No, and I'm not saying that, but it's, again, I think everything has side effects. The vaccine 100% is going to have side effects. And I think that the big question is, do the side effects or the potential risks of the vaccine outweigh the potential risks of the virus?
Yeah,
right?
We can't even make that decision.
No,
right now.
and I think it's going to be years until we can make that decision. All that I know is that it's like, okay, can we slowly get, back to normal? Can we slowly, businesses are opening, people are thriving again, people are spending money.
I tell you, I walk out of the grocery store now and I rip my mask off. It's like I feel free, and it's so nice to see people smile.
Yeah.
I
have clients who I've started cutting during the pandemic. I have no idea what the bottom half of their face looks like.
When I went and saw this oncologist, I made him take his mask off. I'm like, I got to take my mask off. I said, I've been vaccinated. And he goes, and I said, I'm sure you have. He goes, yeah. And I said, well, if you want to take yours off, I have no problem with that. But the guy had like a goatee and everything. And with this white mask on, I would have never known. I'm going to tell you.
You're like, if you're going to be up in between these legs, you're going to take that mask off.
Up inside of me, you better take your mask off. I want to know what your face
really
looks like.
Oh, you're kind of cute, Doogie Howser.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, I mean, look,
gross.
I think that I'm starting to see more people at the salon than at any point during the whole pandemic. And I don't want to say that I don't want to speak prematurely and say we're out of it, because I don't think we are. But it feels a lot fucking better now than it did in December and January. I had a client yesterday who came in. She got the one that I said that ended up having shingles. She has been very careful. They had been very, very careful throughout the whole thing. They didn't leave the house. They didn't do the fucking thing. And they're still, her husband's like very, very crazy about like not wanting to see anyone or do anything. And she comes into the salon and she'd been a client of mine for years. I mean, I think right after she got married, I started doing her hair, and she's awesome. She's like the greatest person. I started doing her hair. When she got pregnant, I started doing her hair. She would show me photos of her kid who's like 5 or 6 now and like just huge, like very tall and like super cute kid. And I was like, and I looked and I was like, fuck, I was like, I can't believe that I've been like cutting your hair for this long. But when she walked in the salon and I was just like, oh my God, hey. And she was like, oh my God, can I give you a hug? She's like, I haven't seen you. And I was just like, yeah, I'm like, I've been vaccinated. She's like, I have too, and I gave her a hug. And it's those little tiny things that you realize, right? Like even tonight I'm going and I've been playing music with a couple friends every other Friday for the past maybe 3 weeks. And it was something that I felt that I took for granted, not being able to play, being able to play music whenever you want and just set up some time and taking the instruments and going to play, whatever. But when it becomes a thing where you can't do it, it's not like you're not allowed to see these people, and because it's a risk. All of a sudden you're like, fuck man, I miss this. Yeah. And it's been so good, again, both mentally and physically, to be able to have that outlet and do that and be creative and be like, yeah, guys, let's, like I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my God, guys, I'm so fucking stoked to get out and play some music tonight. Not for, not because I think I'm going to be a rock star, but just to be able to play music, and eventually record some songs and put them up on Apple Music and be like, look, I'm fucking 40 years old. I still got it. I'm still doing it.
I still got it, baby.
So anyway, June 15th,
yes, I don't really know what's going on.
Let me ask you this. If masks are June 15th, if masks become optional, I feel like it's like we're like in the future because people are like listening to it right now, right? Mm-hmm. If masks become optional in most places, where do you stand with it? Are you like, hey, I'm good. I ain't gonna wear my mask.
I'm not wearing a mask.
Okay.
If I don't have to wear a mask, I'm not going to wear a mask. I don't think they work anyway.
Okay.
According to Dr. Fauci's emails that have been leaked, or actually they're not leaked, they're a FOIA request, Freedom of Information requested. According to his emails from even a year ago, he says masks don't really work to, short of the N95s, to ward off viral respiratory.
I disagree with you just because I use the old pee analogy where if you pee and you don't have a pants or underwear on, the pee goes everywhere. But if you have like a thin layer of underwear, it definitely soaks up some of that pee.
Well, what about the fart?
Well, that's different. That's gaseous.
Okay, but gaseous is exactly what I'm talking about.
Are we talking like a gash in your arm? What are we talking about?
Gaseous. I don't know. My point is.
Oh, it's smelling a little gaseous in here.
It's like what's his name says. If you fart and it's in your underwear, it may not smell right away, but at some point it comes out. So if somebody's coughing in their mask,
you're wrong. You're wrong because it does not come out. The underwear and the pants are a full on barrier to how bad that shit's gonna smell. If you pull your pants,
if it's bad enough, you're gonna smell it through there,
right.
Josh. Come on.
If I'm sitting here, right, and I let out a left cheek sneak, and I have
what it's called?
And I have both my underwear.
What's the right one?
It's called a right cheek sneak.
A right cheek sneak.
It's called a right cheek diarrhea. If I have on my pants and my underwear, and I let out a little left cheek sneak, and you might smell a little bit of it. You might be able to waft in a little bit of my gaseous odor. But if I'm just bare butt, right? Like, you're going to smell way more gaseous.
Yeah, but it's not how much you smell. It's the fact. The fact that you smell it at all.
The mask cuts down.
Because here's the deal.
On how much shit is coming out of my mouth. And I'm a talker, you know? Like, and I had that speech impediment.
Right.
I'm throwing spit bubbles out like it's, right. I'm throwing gaseous spit bubbles, you know?
I don't think they really do much, to be honest.
We can agree to disagree.
I don't know if we could do that or not.
You think
to be honest,
you think anyone ever disagreed to agree? I disagree to agree.
That's exactly right.
That's what we're doing.
So yeah. So anyway, no, I will not wear a mask if I don't need to wear a mask. Matter of fact, I was very excited that Trader Joe's said they weren't going to require them. But I think that Barbara Ferrer, stupid non-medical doctor who's the head of the LA County Health Department, has said that everybody's still going to be wearing masks.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I want to wrap this up, but I think that there's a lot of pieces to it, right? Especially, and you had mentioned OSHA. I don't want to go down this whole OSHA hill because we will, but you know, OSHA, they're coming out and saying, well, hey, like we're going to make the call. We're going to make so
they haven't made any calls.
Right. So you have
and now they're going to be in charge.
You have the CDC, the California Department of Health, who's Barbara Ferrer associated with?
LA County.
LA County Health. And then you have now OSHA who's stepping in. And, you know, you just have too many fucking cooks in the kitchen. And not to mention that if you want to just say, hey, everyone's got to still wear masks, don't have 10 different fucking groups come out over the last 3 weeks and say, hey, guess what? June 15th, no more masks.
Well, on top of that, the other thing is that the administration, the Biden administration has been, you know, for so long pushing everybody to get vaccinated. Pushing everybody to get vaccinated. But so what's different after we get vaccinated? We still have to wear a fucking mask. That's why the CDC changed all that, because they were getting so much public pressure.
100%. How do we get more people vaccinated? Yeah. Tell them they don't got to wear masks.
Exactly.
Okay, Great plan.
Exactly.
But the problem is that you can't.
But what that makes me think is that, okay, if you're telling people that are vaccinated that they don't have to wear masks, but for the last 3 months, people who have been vaccinated were still supposed to wear masks, and now all of a sudden they don't have to, it makes me think that the masks really didn't do much anyway. But I think people are vaccinated. They don't need to wear them.
I think that there's the thing too where it's like, hey, people are getting vaccinated. Should we still have more masks? It's like, well, let's just make sure, like, let's double down on make sure that this is working before we like throw that. I think the problem that they had was you can't come out, you know, again, Biden said it, the CDC said it, you know, everyone, no more masks. If you're vaccinated, no, and then it's like, oh, well, there's 700 guidelines that you have to go down on mask wearing or not mask wearing. Or if you're outside and you're above the age of 68, but you're with kids, you're okay. But if you're not with kids and you're with older people, then you're not okay. But if you've been vaccinated and you were vaccinated after March 30th, then that's okay. But if you were vaccinated before March 30th, we switched the formula, so you still got to wear a mask. But if your mask is made of a cloth and not a paper, then you don't have to wear that one. But you should wear the paper mask just in, you know, I'm like, it's insane.
I know. It's like, fuck you guys. You're all full of shit.
Like, well, if you're seeing your doctor, you have to wear a mask. But if you're going to the hair salon, you don't have to wear a mask. But if you go to the grocery store, you don't wear a mask. But if you go to Costco, that's okay. You have to wear a mask.
See, and then the other part of it is that it makes you not believe or want to follow any of the rules because they're so arbitrary. They're so
But it's been that way this entire time.
I know it has.
Right? Like it's
I know.
like
So what do
even,
they expect? We're just going to fall into line, you motherfuckers.
well, even like the shutdowns, right? Like, okay, so we're opening up this, but you can't do this, but it's okay to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, we're saying, look, like I said it on a podcast, I don't know, whatever, 10, 20 episodes ago, like, restaurants are very dangerous. We got to close down restaurants. Well, hair salons can stay open. No, okay, close down hair salons. Well, okay, restaurants can open before hair salons because hair salons are too dangerous. It's like, well, no, that just goes back against the shit you said 2 months ago.
I know.
What's more dangerous?
I know. I know. They don't even know. They're just, they're just making it up as they go along. And, that's great. The problem is that number one, when they're wrong, they never come out and apologize. And number two, they've killed the fucking economy in the state.
I think the best thing that they could have done is to go through all these closures and opens and closures and gaseous opens. Is that
gaseous opens?
Is to at some point somebody should have come out and said,
"We don't really know what we're doing."
No, not even that. You don't even have to go that far. Hey, we think we made the wrong call on X. But it was because we were concerned about the safety and we thought that maybe this, like, hey, when we closed the beaches down, we thought that
so stupid. That was the stupidest thing.
Totally. But hey, come out and say, hey, we made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right? We're only human. It's that thing where like we didn't know and we didn't know how to deal with this at that time. Yeah. So we made the wrong call. And guess what? We're not closing down beaches ever again. Go to the beach, go outside. We've learned that that's safe. But they don't do that. It's this thing where it's just like.
No, they just ignore it like it never happened. Yeah. Like it never happened. And Fauci's the same way too, as far as, like even this Wuhan lab theory that, we talked about a year ago. And he was poo-pooing, and now, it could be credible. I mean, but he does the same thing. He, like he says one thing, and then you follow it, and then later on, the science tells you that wasn't necessarily true. Nobody ever goes back and says, you know what, we were wrong. I mean, and if they did that, maybe we would feel like what they're telling us now is more credible.
And I think that there would be so much more respect.
Exactly.
For, especially like I've been saying it since we saw that whole thing with Newsom go to the French Laundry. Had Newsom just come out and been like, hey, look, I made a fucking bad choice, but I'm fed up with this just like you guys. Like, come out and be human for a second rather than be, very political and very fucking, just come out and be human. Because I think people want, whether you're Republican or Democrat, maybe I'm wrong, but if you're a Republican or Democrat, I think people just are like, hey, we just want some human emotions from these people.
Well, we want some transparency, and we want,
be transparent.
And
we didn't know. We fucked up.
And we want to know that if you're making a rule for the state, then you're following the rule of the state.
Totally.
I mean, and there's so many politicians that have been caught not doing that, and it's like really disgusting to me, but whatever. I digress.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to sum it to sum it.
So happy opening day.
To shut it down. I think this is a good place to shut it down.
Happy opening day.
Yeah. Happy June 15th. Happy opening day. We don't know what's going to happen, but hopefully, if we got anything right on this podcast, we're like fortune tellers. It's like incredible.
I don't see any changes, to be honest.
I want to say to you. So again, we're recording this on Friday. Tomorrow's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Are you doing anything special?
I don't know.
Okay. Good. Fantastic. Rodman. Cue Rodman.
What, is somebody going to bring me?
Rodman, come on in, buddy. Come on in. It's okay. The door's unlocked.
I know. Why didn't you have like a big My Mom Sandy celebration?
How do you know we're not going to?
Well, you would have had it on our podcast day. We could have done it live on the podcast.
No, this isn't for everyone. This is just for you. There's like a sandy balloon that like floats over the house,
Or I know, on one of those airplanes that goes.
Yeah.
And it says "Happy Birthday."
At My Mom Sandy podcast.
We should hire one.
I'm sure they're not expensive at all.
Probably
all the
not.
millions that we've been on this podcast so far.
I know. Hey, we'll just take our earnings and reinvest in our podcast.
So if you guys need to get a hold of us, you can always send us an email, mymomsandypodcast@gmail.com. You guys can find us on Instagram at mymomsandypodcast. We're also on TikTok, which I believe is My Mom Sandy Podcast, maybe? I don't know.
Which is owned and run by the Chinese government.
Sam's in charge of that.
They're trying to...
And we have a new episode that comes out every Tuesday. I always say this when we do like 3 or 4, but like we've been on a roll lately.
Yeah.
All right. And for any other oatmeal questions or...
Well, we have to get updates at some point too about my Arizona trip and your dog issue, but not today.
Not today.
So,
all right. Cut it off. Okay. So we will talk to everyone next Tuesday, and I don't want to say hopefully, but maybe we're not wearing masks. Maybe we're able to hug and kiss.
Well, I think we can do whatever we pretty much want to do anyway.
Maybe
I mean, seriously, like you wouldn't hug somebody because the government told you couldn't?
I listen to exactly what the government says every time, all the time.
But listening to it and doing what they
I'm
say
just
is
kidding.
two different
I'm
things.
just kidding.
All right, very good.